So, what if I told you that the biggest bottleneck in blockchain, the one thing that's been holding it back from going totally mainstream, has basically just been solved? For years, blockchains have been really powerful, but let's be honest, kind of slow. They operate in this delayed, asynchronous world. But thanks to a huge breakthrough in cryptography, we're stepping into a completely new era, an era of real-time, synchronous blockchains. Let's dig in and see what that actually means.
The engine behind this whole revolution is something called a zero-knowledge proof, or a ZKP for short. And it's kind of like magic. It lets you prove something is true without revealing any of the secret data behind it. The classic example is this. Imagine proving you're old enough to vote, but without ever showing anyone your actual birth date. That's a ZKP. It's like a digital secret handshake, and trust me, it's about to change, everything.
And look, ZK proofs are already changing the game for scaling Ethereum. This table compares the two big ways of doing it: optimistic rollups and ZK rollups. See, optimistic rollups kind of work on an innocent until proven guilty model. They just assume transactions are valid. ZK rollups? No way. They are all about mathematical proof. They use what are called validity proofs to verify every single thing right from the get-go. And the difference in results? It's just staggering. We're talking finality in a few minutes versus a whole week. This isn't just a small step up, it's a total game changer for speed and security.
Okay, so if ZK rollups are so much faster, so much more secure, you've got to be asking, why isn't everything already using them? Well, the answer comes down to this one massive, stubborn bottleneck that's been bugging this tech for years. It's what we call the asynchronous problem.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the issue. While the idea of a ZK proof is beautiful and elegant, actually making one has been a total computational nightmare. It takes a ton of processing power, and it can take anywhere from minutes to, in some cases, hours. For a long time, this delay has been the huge wall standing between us and a truly real-time blockchain.
This slide just perfectly captures the paradox here. Checking a proof, the verification, that's lightning fast. We're talking milliseconds. But creating the proof in the first place, the generation, that's been the long, slow, painful part. It's kind of like spending hours and hours painting a masterpiece that someone can appreciate in just a single glance. And closing that gap, that huge chasm between creation and confirmation, has been the challenge the entire industry has been racing to solve. And that race has kicked off this incredible firestorm of innovation. I mean, the entire ecosystem has been laser-focused on one single goal: to absolutely shatter that speed barrier and make ZK proofs not just powerful in theory, but practically instantaneous in the real world.
So how are they doing it? Well, the attack on this bottleneck is coming from three different directions all at once: writing smarter software, building specialized hardware, and designing completely new proving systems that are built for one thing and one thing only: pure speed. All right, first up, hardware. Think of it like this. You could use a regular old wrench for a specific job, or you could build a custom tool that does that one job perfectly and 1,000 times faster. That's what ASICs and FPGAs are. They're custom-designed chips made for the sole purpose of cranking out ZK proofs. The result? A just mind-blowing 10 to 1,000 times speed up. It's the brute force approach, and man, is it effective. Now, on the software side, there's this really fascinating trade-off happening. Imagine you're translating a book. A Type 1 ZK-EVM, that's like a perfectly literal, word-for-word translation. It's 100% accurate, but it can be a little clunky, a little slow. But as you move over to Type 2 and Type 3, you start to make some small changes. You get a little more creative to make it flow better and read faster, even if it's not a perfect one-to-one match anymore. So developers have to find that sweet spot, that perfect balance between compatibility and speed. And that brings us to the third and maybe the most radical approach of all, just starting from scratch. ZK-Sync's Airbender is a perfect example of this. Instead of trying to fit ZK proofs into a system that already exists, they built a brand new one from the ground up, with a single-minded focus on speed. It's a total reimagining of how this stuff is supposed to work. Now, look, you definitely don't need to be a cryptographer to appreciate what's going on here. This is the 6-stage pipeline of a modern prover like Airbender. Each one of these steps is like a finely tuned engine, and they all work together in this intricate dance to turn raw data into a tiny, verifiable proof in like the blink of an eye. The amount of engineering that goes into this is it's breathtaking. So what's the secret sauce in these systems? It's something called a ZK virtual machine, or ZK-VM. Think of it like a super-powered computer. It takes regular code, the same kind of code that powers the apps on your phone, and it runs it. But here's the twist. It doesn't just spit out a result.
It also gives you a receipt, and that receipt is a cryptographic seal of approval, a mathematical guarantee that the code ran exactly the way it was supposed to, no funny business.
Let's zoom in on that receipt for a second. It's got two key parts, the journal and the seal. The journal, that's the what. It's the public result of the calculation. But the seal, that's the how. It's the actual cryptographic proof that the result in the journal is correct. It's really the difference between someone saying, hey, trust me, and them saying, here's the undeniable mathematical proof.
So what is the grand prize for all of this incredible relentless innovation? It means we've done it. We've shattered the bottleneck. We've finally ushered in the era of synchronous chains, where that slow, asynchronous crawl of the past is being replaced by a real-time, instantaneous feedback loop, from hours to milliseconds.
This is it. This is the moment where everything changes. We can now generate a proof for an entire block of transactions in less than a single second. I mean, what used to take hours of intense computation now happens faster than you can blink. This is the breakthrough we've all been waiting for, and it unlocks a whole new world of what's possible.
And with block proofs happening in under a second, verifying the entire history of a blockchain becomes, well, it becomes effortless. Think about auditing a company's books. The old way was painfully going through every single ledger, one by one. The new way is like looking at a series of certified summaries, where each one is mathematically guaranteed to be correct. Verification goes from this massive, impossible task to a simple checkmark. It's that easy now.
So what does this actually mean for you, for the user? It means the end of that dreaded spinning wheel of death on the blockchain. It means a user experience that is just as fast, just as fluid as any traditional website or app you use today. We're talking about real-time gaming, high-frequency trading, and social media apps that, until now, were basically just science fiction on the blockchain. So welcome to the ZK Everything era. Because when verifiable computation is as fast as a heartbeat and almost free, it stops being just a scaling solution. It becomes a fundamental building block for a completely new, more transparent, and more trustworthy internet. And this just gives us a tiny glimpse of the massive new landscape that's opening up. We are talking about a world where different blockchains can talk to each other instantly, where huge institutions like Visa can handle private payments with mathematical certainty, a world where even Bitcoin can finally get powerful smart contracts. And at the heart of it all is the promise of finally scaling Ethereum to billions of users around the globe. So I'll leave you with this question. We have just watched a fundamental limit on computation get completely shattered. We can now prove that something is true almost instantly and for pennies. So when proving the truth is instant and cheap, when trust is no longer about faith in some institution but about mathematical certainty, what kind of world can we build? The answer, really, is up to us. The ZK Everything era has officially begun.